What's going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer here from Blue and Gold with this week's Mike Goolsby Show. And of course, joining me is former Irish captain and linebacker Mike Goolsby. And we do have a pretty special guest for this week's show. Please do, folks, hit the thumbs up on this video and subscribe to our channel for more content. It's going to be a good show with a couple of former Notre Dame captains chopping it up and talking some Notre Dame football. And here's Tom Zbikowski. These two guys I'm honored to be on a show with today. And I bet the Tennessee Vols don't like these guys too much, considering that these two defensive players scored 3 touchdowns against Tom, how you doing today, man?
Zibby, you with us?
Tom, can you hear us?
Man, no, you're breaking up. I heard something about some touchdowns, but then I only heard the last part.
Well, that's what you
said.
Did,
man. If I'm with you guys,
you scored touchdowns at Notre Dame. Just how you doing today? We might
be having some glitches.
No,
man.
now you're good. Now you're good. Whoa.
We might have to. Yeah, if it's glitching, because we had some technical difficulties leading into it. Can you hear me, Tom? Can you hear me? I think we got to reschedule it, Michael.
The joys of the internet.
No, and I've had plenty of problems on my own end before, prior to.
Well, all right. I'll keep an eye on Zibby and see if he's able to join back. All right, let's see it. Tom, can you hear us now, man?
Yeah, now I can. Hold on, keep talking for a little bit. Let's see if it stays.
Test.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
We're cooking with gas, dude. It took me a year to get this thing figured out, Zeb. First time I started.
Please don't go anywhere. Please don't go anywhere. Yeah, please don't go anywhere.
We're fine.
Please don't go anywhere.
We're good. No, yeah, Zeb. So yeah,
really. Do I need to be like this close? Does it need my energy? Does my iPad need my energy or something?
It may, dude. I think it's a Wi-Fi thing, brother. I think it's a Wi-Fi thing. How we doing? Are you hearing us okay? Yes, no? Can you hear me? Yeah, I think we got to reschedule it.
I can
you hear me? We can't do this live,
now
though, Mike, if it's going to be back and forth like this.
Yeah. You want to try a different device, Tom?
Now you're good.
Okay, maybe we got it. You know what helps, Tom, is I shut off all the Wi-Fi in my house other than like my computer, so I get a stronger signal.
I did that with my phone, I thought, so I'll do that everywhere else if I can. Hold on, no.
Well, we're live, Tom. Text the wife. Tell her to shut it off.
Do I need a computer over an iPad, or a laptop over an iPad?
I would just try a different device, and we can just, if you want to try a different device, and you can just come back.
All right, hold on.
All right, Mr. Goolsby, I'll keep an eye on Zib.
Rough. It's rough.
It's tough out there. Yeah, late start. It's just great television 4 minutes in. Well,
again, you come to the Mike Goolsby Show. If for nothing else, production value. I mean, that's what it's about, you know. It's a high dollar.
We haven't. Me and you haven't done one of these since the after the bowl game. So since
lots happened.
Yeah, Notre Dame got a transfer quarterback.
No, I mean. And believe me, I mean, I kind of showed my ass, I really kind of went out on a ledge for Tyler. And I keep kind of thinking it through. And I'm like, I still feel kind of the same way.
Yeah.
I really do. I think I obviously see the merit with Sam Hartman. I really do. But, you're going to have a guy coming out of a system that he's been in for 5 years with the slow mash. And now he's going to have to learn Coach Reese's system. So maybe it makes for a good competition with Tyler having had a couple years in the system, Sam having to learn a new one. But I'm still on the Buchner bandwagon. I just am.
What do you think's going through Buchner's head right about now?
Well, yeah, I think being able to redshirt this year, I think was huge for him. Obviously, not the way you want to go about it with an injury, but I mean, I'm sure the kid can see the value, obviously, to the Notre Dame degree in terms of like him potentially transferring, which is there's no indication that that's the case. But yeah, I mean, I imagine he's got to feel a little bit slighted, or maybe depends on the kid's wiring. Maybe he's looking forward to the competition. You know, you hope it's the latter, right?
Yeah. 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 Who are some players that going into the offseason you think, just off the top of your head, obviously, Mike, because we're totally spitballing here because this was not our plan for tonight's show, but who are some players that you think need to have big off seasons, kind of like a make or break off season for them to either this is your chance to break into the lineup, or if you aren't able to do it, like it's time to go?
I think that it's interesting. I think Blake Fisher, this is just off the top of my head, right?
Okay.
I think Blake Fisher needs a full season of conditioning, weight room to really take that next step developmentally. I think Riley Mills is another one. I think he had a lot of expectations coming into this season. When he made some plays, I don't think he was dominant. I think he has the chance to be dominant. So I'd add him to that list. Cam Hart is kind of another one where the expectation was kind of there coming into this season. I don't know if he met those expectations. He's had a lot of just little kind of nicks and, bruises and things. It's like, and again, to me, that's like, you can take care of a lot of that stuff preemptively through the conditioning program, weight room, get himself in shape. So, and then one of these wide receivers, I mean, somebody's got to rise to the top and somebody's got to pop there at that position. Just kind of off the top of my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks like we got Zibby back. Maybe. So a funny comment here was Zibby is still entertaining amidst the technology problems. I agree. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, truly. It took me a year till I finally got this thing dialed in. It is so frustrating, All
right.
For those of us that aren't technically savvy.
All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to bring Zibby in now.
I'm the worst. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
All right, yeah.
Take a deep breath, Tom. I think we're golden.
Thank you, dear baby Jesus.
You can see me fine. You can see me fine like this.
We're golden. We're live. We can see you. However many people are watching. Yeah, dude, we're good. Zib.
Yep.
So I was trying to think like how to tee this thing off,
Yeah.
And I always kind of looked at you as like my little brother when we were at school. You remember we used to always be in the ice baths after practice and all that?
Yeah.
And I was like, what's my first memory of Zibby? And it was during training camp your freshman year, dude. And I remember, because I didn't pay attention to recruiting or anything really. And like your class showed up. I remember you ran down as a gunner on the punt team. In the very next snap, you were the fucking punt returner. Like boom, boom, back to back. And I was like, who is this kid? But that's my first memory of Zibby. Where did that and I was telling Singer before you came
Mine was on my recruiting visit. You guys had after the Gator Bowl, after whatchamacallit, banquet weekend. I came in on my official after you guys played the Gator Bowl.
Who was your host?
Jared Clark, but it was pretty much you.
So I don't remember that, dude. And folks, see, like CTE is real. I don't remember that. What did we do? We were
Jared. We went. I mean, it was that whole crew, like Fasano, you, Jared Clark, Green, two-door, Chevy Yukon, whoever it was. I thought it was
Jared's truck. Yeah, it was Jared's truck.
And then Boat Club.
For sure.
Boat Club. I mean, just took over Boat Club.
Nice, man. Yeah, dude. So when you were was it Notre Dame? Like when I was recruited, man, like it was kind of like when Notre Dame came in the picture, it was like Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Is that how it was?
Yeah, because the first college game I ever watched was 1993 Notre Dame, Florida State.
Okay.
And my brother was a big Florida State fan. Everyone was a Florida State fan. I was a little bit too. My dad watched that game, loved Charlie Ward, started implementing like a little two platoon offense and at the Pee Wee level. Not that I was playing on it. He was winning championships. I was getting my ass kicked. But
hey, shout out Ed Zbikowski, by the way.
Man,
I know
he's
he watches the show.
And Sue and my mom Sue's always she filmed every game, and he was smart enough to introduce me to football and then never really coached me. Let other coaches coach me, separate that father-player relationship. But I do remember an early memory going to practice of him saying, when we get there, don't call me dad, call me coach. You call me coach.
Hey, going back to that Florida State thing, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like I completely agree with you, because I remember watching that game with my dad, who's Irish Catholic, and I was like, how unfair it was that like we weren't going to the national championship, even though we had beat Florida State but lost to Boston College. That I think is what I had that game on VHS way back when.
Yeah,
but that's fantastic.
There was great offense. There was a lot of great players in that game. There was a lot of that's a birth to some modern offenses came out of that. Lou was running option stuff. A lot of that spread stuff was all with him. It's not like Urban Meyer didn't learn what he was doing at his time with Notre Dame. Kind of take all that stuff and move on.
And Urban was at Florida when you were in high school. Is that right?
He was at Bowling Green.
That's right. He recruited the shit out of you. Didn't he love you?
Man, it was the first offer I got. 7 a.m. as a junior, the first day you can get offer, I got a phone call from him about Bowling Green. And then Randy Walker and Northwestern next. I loved Randy Walker. It's just, those facilities back then, it's like, it's a world of difference in what it looks like now.
My memory of Randy Walker was how little he was. Remember how tiny he was?
Tiny.
I was like, this guy's
Frank Solich was like that too. Frank Solich was a little dude that could carry that, carried some weight as he walked around.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They definitely were.
So, a couple of things, like going back to like that Florida State, those like Holtz ND teams, they had a lot of star power, Tom.
Yeah. Ricky Waters. I loved Ricky Waters. I loved all those dudes. I was a running back, so all those offensive guys he had, Rocket, all the running backs, Autry Denson. It just seemed like there was running backs all the time that was fun to watch.
Did you see yourself and I'm kind of segueing to like your all's like recruiting class with Weiss's first year. Like that was like, the different eras of Notre Dame football, like your class, for whatever reason, like you all had star power between you and Jeff and like Victor and Trevor, like Brady.
Right timing. I mean, you guys set it up too. You guys with that little poke into playing Oregon State and making that run like you guys did. You guys set us up. Kind of.
It's very kind of you. It's very kind of you, dude.
Well, it was only 1 or 2 years a little down, and then getting back into BCS games. We got our asses kicked in the BCS games. So, I mean, it's we did, man. For me, honestly, I saw how much I saw how much Notre Dame meant to you. I did see, I was telling whoever that it seemed like I was a younger brother to you. I always appreciated, when I went there. When I left my sophomore, I would have never finished at Notre Dame if it wasn't for you. I never would have went there if it wasn't for Mickey Marotti, and I probably would have never have stayed. I never would have stayed if it wasn't for you.
So I got to tell the audience that story, and I didn't. Your memory plays tricks on you, right? 20 years later.
Always, yeah.
So you're out there balling during training camp.
Spring ball training camp. Dime, they list the depth chart comes out for dime, and I'm still buried on it. And here's the thing it was 2004. This was the Olympic year for me as a boxer, that's all I wanted to do was represent America in the Olympics, fight in the Olympics, fight internationally. And for me, that was my year that I thought I could have been in Athens. I figured I'd put that aside because I can play football. I love it. Let's see what we can do. And I just was impatient at the time. I'm really glad I came back and it all worked out. But it was close to, going the other direction. That's why I feel for all these kids with this portal stuff. It's
well, I gotta take you 2 steps back again. So you and I know that story.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that happened your freshman year, but it was during training camp.
Sophomore year.
Sophomore year training camp.
Yeah.
That would have been Willingham's first year, I think. Or second
year.
Yeah, whatever it was. But depth chart comes out. Zibby's not starting. And then you dipped. Like you got in the car and like went home. And I remember I didn't even have a cell phone
No,
And I was like, somebody, and then I remember like borrowing somebody's cell phone to like call you to be like, you know, come back. It's like, and that's like that memory, and then you playing gunner and the punt return thing. It's all kind of tied together in my brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Was it your dad? And I'm gonna like, when I'm talking to you, bro, I'm talking to you almost like through a fan's perspective, right?
No, I hear you.
Because that's who's gonna watch it. But like,
Yeah.
you talk about that bowl game, right? Where you guys got your ass beat by Ohio State, but like you ran Ted Ginn down and like punched the ball out. Like your style of play, like that legit toughness, did that come from just your DNA? Did that come from your dad coaching you? Like what made you as a player?
The things I saw as a kid, the thing I saw my family going through as a kid, seeing my mom fight for her life when I was not old enough to speak, barely old enough to walk. See my brother with a big head as an 8-year-old with wires attached to his head in a glass box. You know what I mean? As a older brother, as a 4-year-old, when your older brother looks at you in a helpless way, that picture stays in your mind. And when he loves baseball, when he loves football, and he's the one that introduces you to football. For me, it was always hearing my dad's voice, my mom record our games, and my brother taking me. It meant it wasn't just winning. It wasn't just winning and losing for me. You know, it was a brotherhood and making sure if I told you if I told you I was going to be in a position, I mean, come high or hell water, I'm going to be there. And as time goes by, you join a sport that appreciates that and values that. And then I guess you thrive in the environment.
So it's an accountability thing. Accountability to your family, accountability to your teammates.
It was. And it was a burning desire to not, felt good to run. It felt good to score touchdowns. It felt good to tackle. It felt good to do all that.
You didn't want to be average.
Man, no, not in the least bit. I felt, and the honesty, they told my brother he was never going to be able to play. I really just wanted to show if I can do it, and my brother's a 6'5" version of me. You know what I mean? That's really what I just wanted to present to the world any way I could. If I'm the badass, you know what I mean? WTF do you think he was? Or could have been, or would have been, or whatever.
No,
in the athletics world, not that he is in life. He is my true. I've seen somebody fight for his life, his entire life. And, it changes you. It makes something, it changes you. It changes you at an early age.
I get it. Yeah, it's and I train kids on the side, Tom. I know you used to kind of do that, and you're in coaching. I want to get into that, but like, I try to tell my kids, man, it's like there's nothing sadder than like wasted potential and like why be average? Like go try and be great, And you were like, did you like when you were at ND, dude? Like this is like the Weiss era because you started to like pop off. Like my senior year, the year Willingham got fired, you made some plays, but like, did you realize how big of a celebrity you like were and kind of still are like in the Notre Dame kind of fandom? You know what I mean? Did you like?
Yeah. No, I mean a little bit. I would notice when I would see number 9 jerseys sold, but your name's not on it, so it still could be Tony Rice. It still could be this guy. It still could be that guy. I don't know who it is. I know during my time, during 05, 06, 07, there was a lot of number 9 jerseys being worn. And a lot of Mohawks in the stands come 06.
I forgot about the Mohawk, dude. I forgot about that.
But no, you know what I mean? I really I still don't think I've accomplished anything. So me, I've always it's a sickness. My pops, my mom, they wish I could and I do. I mean, I understand I've done things that probably no one else is going to do. I mean, no one else is going to have a pro debut at Madison Square Garden when they're 20 years old and then be drafted a year or two later in the 3rd round. Like that shit's not going to happen again.
No. So I would,
unless my son does it. But I mean,
I can relate in that you're hard on yourself. I think you're even doing this podcast, dude. I'm like, I want it to be the best podcast.
yeah.
Anything you kind of sink your teeth into, you want to be great. I don't
That's
think
what makes life. That's what you life for.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's a wiring.
I don't need to be the best. I just need to be the best version of me. I enjoy that task, and it keeps your mind busy on not trying to find happiness. You ain't never going to find happiness. You find happiness when you stop looking for it. When you're working, you're searching, you set goals, you keep falling short. But I mean, you have perspective on things and realize this is a fight. It's a dog fight. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep moving forward. New things. You can't just be one thing. I'm never going to just be a football player. If I'm planning on coaching, I'm not going to just be a football coach. I've been a fireman. I've been a dad. I've been a brother. I've been other things than just whatever it is. Yeah, whatever it is that you're doing right now. So what is it that the men of past have done? It's Renaissance, man. They've always kind of been a little bit of everything. We need to keep that tradition going.
That's fascinating, dude, because even as a little boy, I can remember that time, like you'd meet somebody from the greatest generation, and they were like a dairy farmer, and then they were a postal worker, and then
do it all, man. Do it all.
They lived a full life, and I think that you and I both have lived pretty freaking full lives for being. I don't know if you're 40 yet, but
37. But still, we're just getting going, man. I had two grandmothers that lived to 102 years old. So if that's the case, man, I still got along. I'm still in that drive phase. We're still in that work phase. My mom worked till she was 70 years old. Plus, you got to take into account, medicine, technology, advances. Shoot, if you ain't playing it for 120 years old or something, you a dummy.
Yeah. If you're trying to, so what brought you back to football, dude? So just for those that don't know, what are you doing now as far as coaching?
Even after I got done with the Bears. Even when I was in the Bears spring OTAs and all that, the fire department test that I had taken in 2006 was starting to, I was going to have to either take it or pass on it, even if I continued on with my NFL career. It happened to be that I was done playing, slid right into the fire department.
Should have ran for mayor, dude.
Yeah. I don't want that kind of headache. An alderman or something. Maybe.
Yeah.
Not that head honcho. But it was. I coached a high school season at Lake Forest in 2015. Really wanted to move away from football, get back boxing. Had 3 fights. Sparred, who at the time was the number 2 cruiserweight in the world. He had only lost to who the eventual heavyweight champ of the world is right now, Alexander Usyk. I sparred him in Big Bear, went toe-to-toe with him for a couple rounds, realized I still had it, still can do it. I mean, this was after 5 years of no activity. I come into the ring and can spar the legit number 2 in the world. And other than conditioning, pretty much handle the situation. So being a fireman, it was enough time to dream of training like a world-class athlete, but not really. You really do. Some of those days when you got 16, 17, 18 calls, you're wiped out the entire next day. You really are going to be sleeping for however long it is. And then you got one day to recover and you're back on shift. So it was always a tease that I could fight. And for those that know me, boxing was always number 1 in my heart. Always wanted to find a way back to it. I always thought that's how, I don't know, my career would end, would at least be a world title shot or 2, or at least in the ring for it.
That's wild. Yeah, no, because the way I remember it, Tom, was like the plan was to play ball.
Yeah.
And then, because you told me, or I think your father told me that, like, you sort of peak as a boxer around 30 years old.
Well, especially cruiserweights and heavyweights, it's all later. It would have been 34 when I would have made a comeback at 34. Would have been prime and hung it up at 40. But I mean, it didn't work out. I got back back to coaching Pee Wee football and the youngsters. That's what I mean. They always do it. They sucked it. They made me love football again. They made me realize why you play, because I coached where I played Pee Wee football, so I see the same uniforms. You see the same kids coaching 6th and 7th graders. The 5th graders on your team are the toughest ones on your team that are at corner. I got them corner blitzing and a 6'2", you know what I mean, just having an absolute blast doing hamburger drill every single day. Just carnage on the daily. And then them asking when, you know, I don't know, it was fun. I loved it. I knew I had to come back to football eventually, but I still had the fighting in me. So, I mean, I spent another 2-3 years of training jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, wrestling, and then was about to fight, couldn't fight. Went back to coach in Illinois when they had the spring season because of COVID.
Yeah.
And then after that, as soon as I coached, by the second day I coached in the spring, I was starting to, I guess, realize that, yeah, this is where I'm at right now is where I want to start going.
Got it. Yeah, that's interesting too. Like talking about life, like you might have a plan, but sometimes life or God, whatever you depend, you know, whatever you believe in, they've got another one, right?
I always had boxing, man. It was that's what it was supposed to be. It was hard. It really was hard to let go, but there's a reason for it. So I gotta let go. I gotta let go and see what it is.
So where are you at now then, as far as coaching?
I've interviewed for the special teams coordinator over at Western Michigan. Still waiting to hear back on. I think by Monday, tomorrow, or Tuesday or something, I'm supposed to be getting some kind of word back.
So how'd you get to why Western Michigan?
Some former coaches of mine helped reach out. I got in touch with Tim Lester last year when I was living in Florida. Just telling him I want to get into coaching. I'm willing to do whatever. I know I'm going to have to volunteer at least 1 year. I've been 10 years out of the game. So crazy. I volunteered. He put me on as a defensive quality control guy. I helped out with safeties, helped out with special teams, win every day. I was volunteer, but I mean, I was training for being a coach. I went every day, got myself up at 5:30, put those hours in. I mean, I'm not putting in 12 hours days when you're not paying me, but I was getting up every morning, putting the full workload in, trying to train my mind, train my body for being a college coach, college/hopefully NFL coach.
Oh, so would that be your...
I'm letting it take me whatever.
I hear you.
You can't stay stagnant. If I'm going to be learning, you got to be moving around. You know how it goes. Whatever situations, right, is the right situation. So I mean,
so
keep
like
moving.
All this life experience that you've got, you know, the ups and downs, like you've done a lot, bro. So like, how does that, if at all, does that transfer into coaching?
It helps me relate to a lot of kids. It really does help me formulate a lot of stuff. And I think it allows me to be harsh and allows me to be direct, and the boys really eat it up. You know, they really need it. They love it. They crave it. They are really trying to shape themselves into men. They're young men, you know, searching and fighting. And if you don't remember those days, I mean, you coming out of high school, you thought it was one way. You thought it was like the movie, the program, and then you get to school and it's a whole different story. It ain't anything like that.
Especially Notre Dame.
Yeah. Other than the training camps, or you being laid out after training camp and feeling absolutely awful, was about the only thing that for us at Notre Dame was comparable. But you best believe nobody's doing your homework but yourself. Nobody's doing your test but yourself. Nobody's going to class for you but yourself. So you better get used to this 6:30 a.m. till 10 p.m. schedule every single day.
Yeah, we're better for it, dude. I tell you, I got a kid
no doubt.
I got a kid that's he's at Wyoming, kid that I worked with, and he was home over Christmas. I bumped into him, and he's like, "Dude, nothing you did, you told me, nothing could have prepared me for like freshman training camp." He's like, I was on the phone calling my dad, crying every night. I'm like, "Bro, been there. We've all been there, you know."
The speed of the NFL was was a bigger transition, but in terms of a bigger shakeup in your life, senior year of college, senior year of high school to freshman year of college, I think is way, way harsher.
So I again, you had an NFL career, right? I had a cup of coffee, 2 of them, but
yeah,
I didn't think the speed was. I didn't find
the
the
knowledge. No individual is necessarily faster than the other people. They just, well, the guys that I played with, I mean, man, they're, those guys.
There's a little bit different era though too when you played versus like
Yeah.
now, right? Dude, there's so many questions. Like I'm almost going to go rapid fire, but like me, I felt like everybody's technique in the NFL was so much better than in college.
Way,
right?
way better.
The
Lesser athletes that are hungrier and smarter are what the NFL are.
And the hungry thing is
hungry as they can. I mean, as hungry as they make them. It's wild how much, and the level where they come from. It's not, it's CFL. They're coming from everywhere, man. They're not just coming from Division I, all divisions of college, CFL, anywhere. And back when we were playing, there was a lot of good players that I played with that were playing in NFL Europe. They came from NFL Europe.
Yeah, which is now defunct. Yeah. No, I mean, my first training camp, dude, I saw, I don't even remember the names, but like, they had the little weight room off the side of the practice field. You know what I'm saying? You get your lift in after practice, and some dude had beef or they were trying to compete for a job, and the guy was benching, he put the bar on his neck. like it was like I was out of prison. I was like, oh, this is the NFL.
Stuff.
You know what I'm saying? But I was like, that's how bad, they want this. That's wild.
I loved it.
Hey, I was thinking about you, right? I was like watching these old YouTube highlight tapes, trying to jog my memory in lieu of our conversation. And this kind of ties back into like it being a different era. And it's funny, like when you go back and look at pictures of yourself as a player, we were all fat, right? Like, how heavy did you get at Notre Dame?
218
Crazy.
In 06. Yeah, 06 when I showed up for training camp, I was 218.
Why did we? Because I played at like 250. Like, why did why?
And Bill Lewis always told me 202 when I played in the NFL at 202. People thought I was almost 220, and I moved. I mean, it was incredible how much faster I can move. But one of my first recruiting trips to Stanford. Tyrone Willingham's at Stanford, Bob Davies at Notre Dame, and the first person I see Notre Dame take the field is Grant Irons. I just assumed, like, your biceps, your arms, this is how you were supposed to look if you were going to play in college. And I don't know what that always is as like teenage boys with their bench pressing,
so true,
with their biceps, like really thinking that this has anything to do with anything. But it scared you, so you think you're going to scare people, and now you're doing tries and buys at the end for 20 minutes instead of working on your vert, working on your technique and doing. But you don't know what you don't know. You're getting away on talent.
I love it.
Athletic ability. No one's beating you on your footwork. No one's outrunning you. No one's doing any of that.
No, it's fascinating. Yeah, because like you talk about high school kids, because the lifting weights, Tom, is the easy part. Lifting
way
weights
easy.
Is easy.
Way easy.
The running, the technique, the footwork, all that stuff's like actual work. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because like you see. I remember like I saw like Rocky Boyman on my recruiting trip, who was literally built like a freaking Greek god. He looked like a comic, like a superhero.
Think of Julius Jones, like even a running, he's 5'8", he's 3 inches shorter than me and somehow 20 pounds of muscle more than me. How is this a thing? How am I supposed to tackle this dude?
Yeah, no, he was a freak too. Yeah, dude.
And then a dude like RG running around there, someone built like that. He twisted me up one time so bad freshman year I never wanted to play defense again, just thinking about trying to tackle Julius Jones and Ryan Grant.
Yeah, because and this is another great Zibby story. This is like these are stories that like I think that you and I share, because you had a nerve thing like your sophomore year. You had a nerve thing all year, and then Jim Russ, our athletic trainer at the time, I remember, dude, he was stuffing towels. You're stuffing towels and pantyhose and like tied it around your neck like a scarf to try and
with Tiger Balm and massage Tiger Balm on my trap. That's how I played. That's
how
I played Tennessee. I played Tennessee like that.
No, yeah, and you heard it in like the third quarter. I remember that. You
stingers,
still hear me?
Okay? Just nonstop stingers.
But I remember like Jim's tying this fucking thing around your neck. And I'm like, Jim, I'm sitting right next to
Yeah.
you because you weren't saying nothing because you were just a
No,
subtle.
hell no.
And I was like, Jim, we got to do better than that. And then he
Yeah, you
flipped the
did.
shit
I
on me.
remember this
And I was just
100%.
trying to stick up for you. Like, dude, these are
Yeah.
starting safety. Like, can we like let him set out of practice or something? But that
No, they
yeah,
would put.
that
Remember,
speaks to
they'd
your
put.
toughness.
I would look like Waterboy. They'd put that neck. They put the cowboy cowl on me during practice, and then wrap a towel around me for game day. This is 19 years old. This is my intro to football,
Big
or
time
my first
program.
season. Yeah, no doubt.
Big time program. So talk to me real quick, kind of switching gears. Like, and I remember this another conversation you and I had. Like, and I think it's relevant with Coach Freeman coming in as a recruiter, signing his guys. Could you talk about, because you were here for a couple years under Willingham, and then Weiss came in, and I remember you were talking like Weiss is kind of like more pro his guys, not so much. Yeah, like you guys kind of had to take a back seat, or you were made to feel as way. Could you talk about that at all in terms of like that new coaching adjustment, what that can do for a locker room, older guys in the team, et cetera?
Yeah, for me at that time, I think we had three returning starters on defense: Derek Landry, Victor Abiamiri, and myself.
And Victor?
Yeah.
Trevor wasn't starting yet, huh?
Not yet. He was in rotation. He's not starting. But we
real
had
quick, dude. By the way, real quick, Trevor Laws, maybe one of the best, most underrated players in Notre Dame history.
He was him and Derek
Unbelievable.
Landry. I mean, Derek was so. And the thing is, they really had, they had to play almost every rep. We did not have much rotation, if any rotation. I don't think people really understand how
different game back then.
Man, these guys played every play, and I really had to play at about 6 to 8 yards from the line of scrimmage. That's how boundary safety played. That's really what my assignment was. Give that support and be an eighth man in the box. But Trevor was so athletic. Seeing him as a wrestler, always seeing him as a friend, and always getting into scuffles, making up mixed martial arts fights with one glove each, and wrestling, and back putting holes in walls and stuff. He was an exceptional athlete.
I remember when him and Carlson went at it, because John Carlson was a world class wrestler too. I remember
John Sullivan.
Excuse me, sorry, John Sullivan. Yeah. It was like Clash of the Titans in the locker room when those two going on. But yeah, I distracted you. We're talking about that transition with Weiss.
Oh yeah. Well, I think we needed the culture change. I got Bill Lewis, who to this day I think is the best coach I've ever been around. He was who I model myself as. Who I want to be as a coach is what I saw him do, not with me, but everyone else in the meeting room. Charlie brought a little more no nonsense. You weren't as comfortable as you were, I guess, to maybe go see him. I mean, you know me, I wasn't going to see Ty. I wasn't going to see Charlie either way. I'm not trying to see any adult.
You're not a brown
adult authoritative. Yeah, I'm not trying to be anywhere around there unless I'm in trouble and getting out of it. So I mean, I'm not really trying to be there. But I think we were craving what we needed. We needed kind of that culture change. So for me, it was a good experience, because then we're in the Fiesta Bowl the next year and we're in the Sugar Bowl the following year. So it was something that I missed. Ty. I liked Kent Bear. I really liked Greg Madison. I loved Mickey Marotti. So seeing those people leave was tough, but also, I had been a free agent in Pee Wee football. So all this transition and new coaches and new faces, I didn't really care. It was, let me just show you what I can do. And at that point, no one had let me return punts. He let me return punts. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. Yeah.
That was your
idea.
I
remember they were Mike Haywood. We were watching some bowl game or some highlight, and somebody takes a punt back. And they're jokingly saying, we need to find somebody like that. Who do we have? And my boys, whoever in my class was around, said, pointed at me. Probably Joe Brockington or Trevor, it was one of the Just we happened to be in the football office, and that's how it all started.
Did you do it in high school, I assume?
No. I mean, a little bit. I was a high school quarterback, so I mean, and a running back. My whole life, I was a running back. The only punt return experience I had was one bouncing off my chest. I mean, I could do some kickoff return, but
no, that's fascinating. I didn't know that. I don't think a lot of people. So you started returning punts
my third year in college.
Yeah,
my third year in college.
That's wild. That's wild. Yeah. Hey, because I was at that, and I'm just jumping around, dude. But I was at that, the Bush push game. I was on the sidelines, and that was, the best game I'll ever see. Like I'll die knowing that was the best game I ever saw. What was like your guys' mindset if you could like go back, as a team, and USC was peak USC at that point in time. Did you guys, was it like we're going to beat that ass? Was it like we're just going to go play hard? What was the level of confidence? Do you remember?
Yeah, man. 04, they won this. We're on spring break in 05, and I tell Ryan Harris that I'm going to take a punt back against SC. That's how far in advance that game was, at least in my mind.
Huh.
That's March, and we played them in October. So March of 05, I've already had it etched in my stone that etched in my mind that some way or another I'll make a mark in this game.
So that goes back, bro, to like you wanting to be great. I mean, that's what that is.
It's and I mean, I'm not saying I didn't believe, but I really believed it. I saw it. I had a dream. Something happened. I don't know where it was. And even the night before, I told my brother to walk. I'm gonna take my first. I'm gonna have.
And that's when you did that thing.
This is my first punt return.
That was for him, right? That when you were.
No, that was for my oldest teammate. Well, if you look, when I raised the ball, homie, that's the same way you scored when you did Tennessee. So I did Mike Goolsby, and then my oldest friend, Scott Klein. So his dad, Scott Klein's dad, was the first coach to let my brother play baseball while my brother would be having seizures on the pitching mound, would still allow him to pitch, be a part of the team, not be afraid of what the consequences could be. So for me, having that as a friend, in my biggest moment, I had to.
I love that, man. That's because this is the thing, dude. Because like, like I was just thinking, I was like, man.
Remember when Kent Baird told you to act like you've been there before?
And I was like, fuck, bro, I never. I scored a 2-point conversion at Soldier Field one time in the prep bowl in high school, but it's funny that Tennessee game. I remember
they were good. They were good.
Well, they were top 10 or whatever, but I remember circling that game in high school when I committed to Notre Dame because I figured I was going to redshirt, which I didn't, but because I just knew about that stadium. So I had, visions of grandeur 5 years beforehand looking forward to that game. That's fascinating.
How cool was that stadium?
So I heard after the fact, to answer your question, bro, when I was in Dallas, there was a linebacker there, Kevin Burnett, number 2, great player. He was a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Good, super good dude too. But he told me that he was told that the stadium was so loud that game that the ball was moving on the ground. Like his center told him, like it was so loud that the ball was shaking. And I was like, I believe it.
I don't know who their D lineman was that started making plays in that third quarter, but you couldn't talk to the person that was. I couldn't hear anything. I mean, it was the loudest I've ever heard.
Yeah, and I think that's, outside of like, your boys, right? Like the locker room and all that stuff, like you'll miss that. You'll never get that back. You'll never have that same experience. But like also, like shit, you can pay to go to the moon nowadays. Like you cannot replicate an experience of like an SEC night game on the road. Like
dude.
We'll never get it back, but it's great, man.
Chaos. Let's make some chaos in whatchamacallit.
When he misspelled chaos on a PowerPoint.
That KAYOS. That chaos.
That's hilarious. Yeah, no, that's for people watching. Coach Willingham was a big PowerPoint guy because nothing motivates you like a PowerPoint. And he would tend to misspell words, and chaos was one of the words that he had misspelled. But yeah, I don't know what else I got. Like, I just I wanted to reconnect. It's the off season. It's I'm going to try and make it a point to get some ex-teammates and, Notre Dame celebrities like yourself.
I'm glad you're doing that.
I appreciate you coming on, but
I'm
hey,
glad
real
you're
quick,
doing it.
are you pretty in tune with like Notre Dame football nowadays? Do you pay attention?
I am not, but I'm starting to open up to wanting to maybe coach or get back to South Bend at least, maybe help. I left football bitter and mad at everyone, so I'm starting to, and I'm in Kalamazoo. I'm not too far from it. I got to see what's going to happen at Western Michigan. If nothing's going on, man, I wouldn't mind going back to South Bend at all because I do like Marcus. I like what he's about, and I mean.
How would you be as a recruiter? I think nowadays football's football. You got to be able to recruit. How would you be as a recruiter?
How do you think I'd be? I think I'd kill it.
Yeah, you got me. I think the same thing.
I do.
I think being relatable. I think that's the one thing that I think that's one thing about Tom Zbikowski that Notre Dame football fans loved and felt. Is like you're.
And right now, what's my motive, man? I've accomplished it. Like we've said, I do know I've accomplished things, and my life isn't going to depend. I've legit saved people from burning buildings, people's lives. Being an NFL coach or winning a national championship or winning a Super Bowl. Really, I would love to do it. It's important to me, but impacting a kid's life is way more important. And I think any kid. When you think back, man, the 17, 18, 19-year-old, you knew who was full of shit and who was real within seconds, man. You can't, it's hard to.
Well, so if that's what you're bringing to the recruiting trail, and that's what I was saying, I think that's why people like me, it's because I'm myself. And
without a doubt.
And you're still you. That's interesting. But I think that that legacy piece is what you're basically saying. Like you affecting kids' lives, that's going to be part of your legacy.
Yeah.
I dig it, man. Hey, Mike, are you still with us? Getting back to my co-host.
I'm here, man.
There he is. Hey,
yeah.
Do we have any super chats that you want to run through or anything like that?
I told the people not to post super chats so that we could just let you guys talk. But if the people want to ask any questions, do you want to spend a few minutes doing questions?
Let some people ask. Let's see.
Yeah. So real quick, Zibby, go rapid fire, but let's just kind of go pop them off one by one is what I'm thinking.
Well, we did have one earlier, a guy talking about your dog breed. He says he has 5 of them and he wants to see your pup. So maybe you're gonna have to.
The shepherds.
No, dude, you got a shepherd. You bought dogs from Joe, right?
Yeah, mine passed in May though. It's a sensitive subject for me.
All right. Well, I guess Goolsby's going to get his dog or not.
Getting this Borble here, dude. Anyways, next super chat.
All right, people, post some questions. I literally told him not to because I didn't want to feel obligated to interrupt the. There we go.
Borble.
There it is.
All right, get off.
Boy,
get out of here. Anyways, that's for the super chatter. Get out of here.
Zibby, I would like to know real quick about my jaw literally dropped when you dropped the little the nugget about you interviewing for Western Michigan because there's a lot of Notre Dame ties at that school right now with Lance Taylor, the head coach, obviously, former Notre Dame running backs coach. Several guys who were grad assistants / analysts at Notre Dame are now coaches there. Just how cool is all that Notre Dame connection at Western Michigan? And then how long have you been there now?
1 season. I was there last season, and then it'll be a whole lot cooler if they hire me. Other than, if they don't, they can go fudge themselves.
We'll edit that out. No, but you said before, dude, you kind of because you buzzed the tower in terms of trying to get back to Notre Dame under Coach Kelly, and that didn't quite. We'll save all the details, but that didn't quite go anywhere, But
and that's part of the bitterness, and I'd love to be back there if I could. I'm in no hurry. I'd like to end, as long as I'm helping kids. I do like coaching. I like being involved. I've really liked to start implementing a lot of the things that I saw special teams wise, defensively, and see if my brand of football wins or not.
Did have a question here from Milton Fan. Says, what does Zibby like about Marcus Freeman?
That he stays fit.
He stays fit.
Yeah.
I've said before, I'm like, man, all the things that are on a head coach's plate, like how does he carve out? I mean, to stay that in shape, dude, that's 8 hours a week in the gym at least, right?
Ooh.
6 to 8 hours a week. Yeah, where's he finding that time?
I don't know.
But I think Coach Freeman
early discipline. You either got to discipline. He's got that early. You got to have that early. You got to get that workout early because you're not going to do it later. I like getting it in early and then going. I can watch film better. I can speak better. I can communicate better. I always like getting the early workout.
Oh, yeah, you get.
And I mean, when the boys, it takes these boys like 10 minutes to stretch and warm up and all that. I got a 5-minute planking and 100 push-ups.
5-minute plank.
I mean, it's 3. I exaggerate, but I mean, I'm doing 3.
Dude, I haven't done a sit-up in like 6 years. But no, I think, all kidding aside, I think we're going back to that authenticity piece. I think Freeman has been on brand throughout. Like, he's wavered a little bit on the sidelines as he's learning, but like he seems like, I mean, I'm buying what he's selling. Yeah,
I like him. I'd like to see. I'd like to get a closer look, and then I'd have better judgment on it. But from an outsider, it seems like he's got all the pieces.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
y'all need help with the punt returner or something like that, or the return game. They get y'all going.
Dude, I love it.
Their punt return game has not been great lately. So
Jesus, yeah.
All right, from BC, appreciate it. He says, Zibby, are you still close with your teammates? Like, obviously, Jeff Samardzin. I'm guessing Trevor L's Trevor Laws. So you talking to any of these guys, Zibby?
Yeah, so we still keep in contact, keeping up on each other's families and lives. All of us are fathers now, so we got kids that we're, kids and families we're looking after. But I was always looking to see Trevor, Jeff up in Minnesota whenever I can. We've always been family since our junior year, since spring game, Notre Dame spring game of 2002. I think we saw each other all from the first time then, and then we're close like family since then.
And also, I mean, I don't know Jeff and Trevor in the way you do, but like rock solid dudes. Like,
yeah, they're there. Yeah.
Good dudes, good people.
Yeah.
All right, Eric asks you, Zibby, if you could give one piece of advice to a Notre Dame football player, what would it be?
To a Notre Dame football player, I mean, enjoy it, man. There's nowhere else where you really do get the teams, regardless of their record, regardless of how their program is, man. You really get their best every single game. There's very few. The NFL is really the only place like it where any given Sunday anything can happen. That's, I think, the lure of going to Notre Dame, but you better be careful what you wish for.
Tom,
it's going to come true.
What does it take to be? I've been talking about this on this podcast, since I've been doing it, and like, you love boxing, but you love football, and it like showed.
Yeah.
You oozed like competitiveness, fire, like compete, right? And I've said like Notre Dame doesn't have enough kids through my lens that like love, that would like, die for this, right? Like, I mean, what does it take for a Notre Dame football kid, advice-wise, to be successful, to find success on the football field? What does that take? Do you have any thoughts there?
For us, I think we knew our history. I knew the past players. It wasn't just the players. I could name players for you that were played before 1985. I was born in 1985. I knew those teams that did win. I knew that a lot of times it was tough kids from Chicago. It was tough kids from Detroit, and it was a mixed from the rest of the country. But there was a sense of
Humility, really.
We're smarter. Yeah, we can match wits with you, and we can throw fists toe to toe if you want. How do you want me to beat you? I can outthink you, and I can out physical you. So however you want to step to this, we can step to this. And
So
if you
that's
don't
your
have that
answer.
mentality, if you can't take it on the road, don't enjoy home games. You better enjoy road games. You really better do, because you're getting the team's best every single time. And even our home games, in some ways, are like away games because it means that much to other teams. You better live that life. You better be about that life, or you're going to get crushed.
So so what I'm hearing you say, I'm distilling that down, Tom, it's toughness.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's learned. You got to just keep fighting, man. It's battling. You got to keep fighting. A lot of these kids, they're the smartest or they're the brightest. How do you respond when you get them cheeks clapped?
Hey, I got a question for you, Zibby. So Goolsby talks about a lot the sleepy atmosphere for Notre Dame afternoon home games. Says the night games are electric. Can you speak to that?
Well, a little bit.
It's true, Tom.
It is, because I kind of enjoyed Mass, but I also am a boxer, and I come from the realm of meditating and not really having music and not really being excited, before you play a game. I mean, before you fight. Football atmosphere is a little different, where I don't know if Mass or church was the best thing. I could see how it's useful. I don't know if that's part of it, but I mean, no jumbotron, no music, no. I don't know. What do you expect? It's just how it was. I don't know. I don't know if that's how it still was, but it definitely was like that for us. It was just.
It's better. It's better
quiet,
now. But
quiet.
What we're saying, like holistically here, is like, Bowling Green or Toledo, right? Toledo's coming here. This is their Super Bowl. It's a 1:30 kickoff. I just had class yesterday. Like, it's hard to get up for those day games. It's a very real thing. It is.
And really, and the biggest thing is the other team. It's the other team's Super Bowl, man. When you face another team, whether they come from the MAC, whether it's Central Florida, South Florida, Florida, whatever, Utah, I don't care where it's coming from. You are about to get the team's best. It's the difference you see when you see NFL playoffs. How do teams with worse records be playing that good? You're getting everyone's best. That's how it is when you play in South Bend. I don't know if there's a way to get home field advantage. There is. You got to get rid of turf and play on grass. It's got to be a rough style of football. You got to do something different that makes it a home field advantage.
Tom, real quick.
Bigger suites. It should be the scariest place to play. I don't get why it isn't, but
Hey, who's our just one word answer? Maybe you can elaborate.
Yeah.
Who through your eyes is Notre Dame's biggest rival?
Ooh.
Through your eyes.
When we were playing, I really felt like it was Michigan.
Okay.
I don't know how you felt.
I would agree. There was teams.
I thought the USC was real, but I mean, they were so good at that time. It was like, man, I remember my freshman year, we were watching Reggie Bush, another freshman, just run all over the field for touchdowns. It's like we got, not that we weren't going to beat them. We played tough against them. I thought that Michigan was real in proximity. Our stadiums look similar. That tradition is similar. A lot of similarities between those two.
I always had a respect for USC.
Yeah.
There's other teams that I hated,
I hated Purdue. I hate Purdue.
Same.
I hate
Boston
Purdue.
College.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I don't think I've ever beat Boston College. I'm 0-2 against Boston College.
I mean,
Pittsburgh, our Pittsburgh, you're our 0-4 Pittsburgh.
Oh, God.
That alone made me hate them.
So, Tommy makes a play at the end of the game, wild game, and they call pass interference on somebody else. And, you ended the game. I tried to play it earlier.
Jansen, intercept. And Quentin Burrell had almost 3 consecutive third down PBUs that are called pass interferences.
Yeah, we got screwed. My
That
dad,
was a hose job of all hose jobs.
my dad got
Yeah.
physically. My dad vomited after that game.
It was.
He was so sick, he literally was ill. Like after.
You can't blame. You don't blame referees and all that, but it was even to old school dads that never blame anyone else's for losses. Are like, yo, something's fishy here.
Yeah, it was wild. Any more questions, Mike?
Yeah, got a couple here. We had Susan asked, "What current players do you see as potential NFLers?" I'm not sure if Zibby, you're how familiar you are with the current Notre Dame roster, but Goolsby.
Yeah, not too much. Yeah,
Ghouls.
A lot of them. I mean, obviously both tackles, Blake Fisher, Joe Alt.
The tight end for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, the mayor's gone. I mean, that's like a foregone conclusion. One of those wide receivers will be an NFL kid, but we're looking for higher end kids, Susan. I think that's true too, right, Tom? When kids think about playing in the NFL, they think about being a first round pick. But
yeah,
I think both of our corners are NFL guys. I think one of our safeties is an NFL guy. I think some of our younger linebackers could be NFL guys. I think Riley Mills could be an NFL guy. But it's so many of these positions, it just comes down to movement skills and body types. Riley Mills is an NFL body. But also, Tom, you could attest to this, tying it back to your class. Dude, Tom, off the top of my head, Tom Zbikowski, NFL. Jeff Samardzija could have been NFL. He was a freaking Bolitnikov finalist. Yeah. Ryan Harris.
Yeah, yes. Big time player. Yep, Ryan Harris. John
Sullivan was in your class.
John Carlson.
Trevor Laws. Both Johns were in your class, right?
Yep. Trevor Laws.
Abby Miri. I mean, I think that your class had 9-10 dudes.
Chinedum and Dukwe. Chinedum
and Dukwe. Hey, Nadu, I had that note in my phone. I just forgot.
Yeah.
And he played a different position in the NFL, like, from wide receiver to safety. My point is, good teams at Notre Dame will put more dudes in the NFL. End of conversation. It's true. You win more awards. So if Notre Dame wins more games, Susan, you'll see more guys get drafted, just the way of things.
And that's how NFL teams draft. They look for who's been successful. There's a reason teams, if you're not successful, how good of a player could you have been?
Yep.
All right, we have one from Domer Wap. It says, I recall you donated some boxing prize money to Weiss's foundation, which is a class move. Are you still in touch with Weiss or any of your former Notre Dame coaches?
Rick Minner a little bit. I talked to Charlie. I talked to a little bit now that I was coming back to football. This really was, last winter and spring is when I started trying to get back into the college ranks and big time football. So it's been a lot of seeing old faces. I saw a lot of faces at the convention in Charlotte. There was not John McDonnell, Rob Ianello. It was, I'm seeing a lot of coaches now that I'm getting back to it.
Yeah, very cool. Chris says, with all due respect to Goolsby, Zibby is my favorite Irish player of all time. All day tough. Great to see you, Zibby. Appreciate the super chat, Chris. And then
I think a lot of people would, echo that same sentiment. How
does that feel, Zibby?
I don't know. For real, I'm not blowing no smoke. He took me in like he was an older brother, man. I really didn't want to tackle. I didn't want to play defense. Like he really taught me how to play defense. He taught me that tackling when you run through people, it's not going to hurt. This stuff really isn't. You got shoulder pads down. There was a lot of things that Mike said that really, man, formed me into the defensive player. At least I was. I watched that out one season and then played. I watched Ed Reed and like some other guys that I'd watch play, but other than that, I didn't know how to play defense. And Mike was someone that taught me how to tackle. He taught me, really how to care about a program, even if there's other players that complain about being sore, that don't like where they're at, that don't, I really saw him weed out all that BS and stay focused on what his task at hand was. And it wasn't necessarily going to the NFL. It was being the best version of him. It was being proud of where you played for. A lot of it was just being pride in where you're at, not looking to transfer, not make the situation you're at better than when you came in is, I think, another thing of how me and Mike were raised. whatever it is, you go in and you change the culture, you change the situation, make it what you want it to be.
Mike,
I think, you know, you talk about like your legacy as a football player, Tommy. You made so many freaking plays, dude. You know, and it's like I feel like all the plays, the highlight stuff, almost takes away from me who you were as a player. It was just a tough SOB, and it's like if I didn't get it, you know, I didn't make as many plays as you, but I was like, I never missed a practice. You know, you played through all these injuries and this and that, like, and I was like, I never wanted anybody to doubt my toughness. And that was what was important to me. You know, that's what I kind of hung my hat on. I was like, I'm going to be a tough motherfucker, like, period. And that's what mattered to me.
To be relied on, man. I knew no matter what the situation, how high the team was ranked or how low the team was ranked, 41 in front of me was going to be where he needed to be, take on whatever block he needed to take on, and help out his team any way he knew possible.
Yeah, dude. Spilling the ball to Zibby. Anyway.
And you play for each other after that. That's how you start. You know, that's where it all goes from.
Yeah.
All right, I've got one more question from the chat for Zbikowski, and then I've got one from your notes, Mike, that I want to make sure we cover, and then if there's anything else,
we can wrap it up. Yeah.
BC, my battery's about to die.
How many games have you been back for?
Me?
Yeah,
only one.
Which one was that?
USC, Notre Dame. I have no idea what year. Jeff and Trevor Laws took me to the game. I don't.
I'm the same way, Tom. I'm telling you. And I'm telling you unintentionally, that's why I wanted to get you on here. I was like, Zibby needs to get back into the Notre Dame. It's just, I'm telling you, like, I did this stupid podcast.
You know, a lot of it, and it wasn't Notre Dame. It was me hating football, you know. And I'm petty, man. I hold grudges. So it's, you know, this is healing for me. This really is because of, you know, this is shit. This is, like I said before, I've said what I had to say about Mike. That's the reason. That's what kept me there. Without him, if there is Irish fans that like me over him, man, I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for him.
Oh, that's all baloney. But I'm just saying, get back. I'm telling you, get back into the Notre Dame fold. And it's like, and I did this podcast. Singer had to drag me through the mud, and it's given me a lot of personal momentum. It's been a beautiful thing. And it's like, whatever grudges you have,
people, man. I know there's so many good people, and there was so many.
Hell yeah!
That end zone. I would score it against USC. I don't know if it's north or south end zone. I just know there's a whole lot of South Side Irish that take their families. Man, those are the seats that families can afford, and it meant a lot to me that's where I scored, and you know, since. Man, that end zone, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe Mike knows it too, but there's something about.
Yeah, you know who was, you know, so I was
childhood, man. That's where we sat when we went as kids.
I was on the sideline for that game, and you know, my parents were in that end zone, just like you said. You know, seats you can afford, whatever. Yeah. Anyways, what was the next question, Mike?
Zibby, your thoughts on NIL? I mean, you talked earlier about the number 9 jersey and how you don't know if it's yours. Well, I mean. Now that's like that's a real thing. You know, you can make money on that now as a player.
Plus, I can only make my purse money. I couldn't make all the money that would have been involved with my pro debut. So I don't really like talking about nil money. Is like millions of dollars lost for me. So I don't really like talking about it. But
that's fair. He's not wrong either.
Yeah.
No. And I'm all right with it because the stuff that we talked about earlier, I think every young man really. Should learn what it's like to get used and abused. Think some things one thing and find out it's a whole nother thing. I think is good for character, and I think all the young men in this country should go through it. So nil money, it is what it is. Karma's real, so if they don't use this money for good things, all that stuff's going to come back to them. So God bless you young kids that all think they're studying on, you know what I mean? Have fun with those mistakes.
You're saying Tom, prioritize the right things. Figure out what the right things are and prioritize that.
Yeah. And I'm talking this because they're getting paid, and we had to be starving and order.
Dude, you would have been a multi-millionaire.
We had to get golden drink. Yeah, and I had to fight to get paid because I was starving otherwise at nighttime, man. There's only so much General Tso you can get from whatchamacallit for $6.99 at nighttime. That Golden Dragon or whatever it was that was down the road. You know what I'm talking about. I love that place.
Sure. I ate a lot of hamburger helper, dude. That's how I got.
And then whatever food, yeah, so did I. At Chef Boyardee, my dad would bring some prosciutto and provolone from some Italian deli. It would get dropped off. By the time I would get to it, there would be one slice of meat, and I would see Trevor with greasy ass hands wiping off his hands on his shirt like I don't know who ate all my prosciutto, provolone, and all the food my dad just bought for me.
That's too funny. That's too funny.
Chef Boyardee, though, that's what I lived on. Ravioli.
That's what I had for dinner tonight.
It really it's good. Is. When it's good, it's good. When it's good, it's good. What are you going to do?
That's too funny. Yeah. Hey, Mike, we got anything else going on? I don't want to keep Tom any longer.
We're good. We are good, man.
He said his battery's dying. Tom, I love you, dude. I'm glad you did this.
I'm glad you guys had me. I'm glad we could reconnected the other day, too.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Tom. Have a good one, man.
Yep. All right, guys.
All
right, Mike. That was pretty awesome, man. Thoughts on talking to Zibby?
No, and I mean thoughts. I haven't been, I'm guilty, Tom's guilty, life gets in the way. So in a roundabout way, thanks to you for giving me this platform to reconnect with an old teammate, little brother of mine, and Zibby. So I hopefully, again, just more of the same, bring on ex-players throughout the offseason, keep putting out fun content. But that was fun, man. Zibby is, I'm telling you, I like to think of myself as a tough dude, kind of a badass. Zibby is a bona fide badass, high character guy. Love the dude, man.
Who do you want on next?
I have to think about it.
Yeah.
Drop it in the comments. Drop it in the comments.
Oh my God, Mike. That's all people have been talking about in the comments or who they want next.
So. Well, we'll see if I can't pull some strings.
All right. I mean, you got Brady Quinn. You got Tom Zbikowski. I mean, I can't wait. How about you got Preston Jackson on for us a couple years ago?
Well, I told you about that funny exchange I had with Rocket Ishmael at the
for the spring game?
The spring game thing when I dogged him, when he dogged us on ESPN, and I gave him the business in the tunnel at Michigan State. And I bumped into him at the spring game thing, and he instantly jumped into that story. And I actually have it on video. Preston, of all people, recorded it. So maybe Rocket would be fun to get on. He's a very animated guy.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, hey, man. So
all right, folks.
I'd like to get Coach Madison on too. Greg Madison, who I think probably recruited Zibby, recruited me. I mean, a Hall of Fame recruiter.
Yeah,
he's seen it all, done it all.
I like this comment, Mike. Ty Willingham.
I'm gonna veto that one.
I'm guessing I'm guessing Tyrone Willingham's not saving your phone.
Well, to be honest with you, and this is the type of stuff that like Zibby would get, like he would feel me on this. So I was Coach Willingham's captain. When Coach Willingham gets let go, do you think there's any correspondence between Coach Willingham to me and or like, hey, if you ever need anything? There was none of that. So yeah, I have no love for Willingham.
Maybe if you were a golfer.
When Bob Davey got fired, he wrote us all a letter. If you ever need anything, wrote a letter to my parents. That's something like classy people do. He recruited me there. I can't speak for any other kids, but no, Tyrone Willingham's not coming on the podcast.
All right. Well, we'll sign us off there. Mike, I appreciate your time tonight, folks watching on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up. That really does help get more eyeballs. The YouTube algorithm likes when videos have a bunch of likes on them. So please do hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if somehow you have not done so yet. And we'll be on bi-weekly in off season.
I dig it. Yeah, bi-weekly. I mean, time flies. So yeah, maybe every couple of weeks.
Yeah, sounds great. All right, it's been the Mike Goolsby Show. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Mike Singer, Mike Goolsby here. Head to blueandgold.com for all your latest Notre Dame football coverage, of course. And guys, we'll catch you next time.